Hey everyone, and welcome back to my channel. So today we are going to be learning how to solo Vindicta for beginners and using melee only. So let's get on with it, shall we? So Vindicta is level 1000 with 200k life points. Her regular melee hits are around 3k and a max range hit can hit up to around 4.5k. She does not poison and also is immune to poison, and she has no weaknesses, although I wouldn't try to range her as she hits you with melee most of the time. Next we have the requirements. You will need at least 80 attack to face this boss, although it can be boosted. You will also need to bring along with you a shield or a defender. Moving on to the recommendations. You will need at least 85 plus in your melee stats and 80 plus in defense. 95 plus in prayer for curses. To unlock curses, you will need to complete the Temple of Celestine quest. 96 plus in herb lore or 89 boosted to make overloads. 67 plus in summoning for a war tortoise. If you can bring a yak, that's even better. Eventually people like to switch out their bobs and bring a steel titan instead for that extra DPS, but I would only recommend that once you are not consuming your food and you are comfortable doing so. Next up is a list of some useful items. First up we have adren pots and replenishment pots. Now these pots are helpful if you're short on adren and you need to use the abilities such as devotion or debilitate. Also essential if you decide to start using berserk. If you have the enhanced Excalibur, make sure to bring it along with you as it can save you some food. You get free heals every 5 minutes. Now the bonfire boost. This is where you boost your life points with the highest tier logs you can burn. A timer will show up depending on your fire making level and the type of logs you have used. And finally, the extra familiar pouch. Now make sure that you bring an extra one with you to avoid dropping all your food on the floor. Okay, so we're going to move on to the gear setups. So before I go into depth on these two setups, they are both example presets that you are all welcome to use. They're not best in stats presets or aim to make your DPS any better. It's more to help you get your kills and last longer. Now there are going to be some out there that have different tiers of gear and extra items and different potion levels that also work too. So, this preset works pretty well for Vindicta. I have used it myself and honestly I found it very easy to stay full life points. I am wearing full Bandos armor. If you've got anything better, use that. I'm also using my Twin Fury blades. You can use a Masuda's War Spear, a Dragon Rider Lance or Chaotix if you own any. Now the dual wielding melee weapons are better for the shield switching, but it's nothing to worry about if you do not own any. I'm also using a Vamp Scrimshaw for the extra heals and a Blood Amulet of Fury. If you don't own a Blood Amulet of Fury, I'd recommend investing in one, but for the time being you can bring an Amulet of Glory instead. In my ring slot I am using my Luck of the Dwarves for those tasty drops. You can switch this out for a Berserker ring if you don't own one, and in my cape slot I am wearing my Fire cape. If you own a top melee cape you can use that instead. However, if you don't own either of these capes, use your highest stat cape you own. So I have brought along with me my Bandos War Shield and my 2 War Master potions to last me an hour there. You can also opt out for a grand potion such as strength, melee or defense, or the super potions. I also have a couple of super prayer renewal pots. You can also just use the super restore flasks. My heart teleport to get me to the God Wars 2, however the heart teleport can only be used once the Tale of the God Wars mini quest has been completed. If you don't have the God Wars 2 telepad, you can just use your desert amulet too. It will teleport you straight to Nada. I also have my Protean logs for my bonfire boost. If you don't have any Proteons, you can use like 5 to 6 of your highest tier of logs you can burn. Now it's good to have this buff active as it does increase your life points and could even possibly save your life. I also have an extra war tortoise pouch to reset the timer as I don't want my bits and bobs dropping on the floor. And I've got plenty of sharks in my bob and inventory. Now remember, you can change anything of the above to your personal preference or what you feel comfortable using. You do not have to use the same setup as long as you stay above the tier 70 gear threshold. Okay, so moving on to the higher tier gear. As you can see in my armor slots, I'm wearing my Malevolent armor with trimmed masterwork boots and a Death Touch bracelet. Now you can opt out of using this Death Touch bracelet and bring in the Razorback Gauntlets gloves instead. As for the armor, you can use the same as me, or if you've got anything better, that's awesome. As for the necklace, I have my Reaper necklace on for the extra accuracy, or you can bring an Amulet of Souls instead for the heals via Soul Split. Now the Scrimshaw is the same as the lower tier, the Vamp for the heals, and the Aura is a little more different tier. Now you can decide if you want to go for the damage auras or the accuracy ones, but if you are new to Vindicta and you have this tier of gear, I'd recommend an accuracy aura and slowly win in the Berserker aura, so you can adjust to taking more damage than usual. In my weapon slot I'm using my Noxious Scythe. If you don't own one, you can use a Dragon Rider Lance instead, or even Drygores, or if you're feeling fancy enough, a tier 92 melee weapon. Now the inventory here is a little more different. I have my tier 90 shield for the much larger heals on Resonance, or you could bring a defender too. I also have my Supreme Overloads and Super Prayer Renewals and a few Saradomin Brews and Rocktails. Now the Rocktails and the Saradomin Brews are awesome for consuming them on the same tick. I'm also wearing my Ring of Death that is imbued for the stats boost, as well as a protection from death in case something goes wrong. And I brought along with me in my inventory my Ring of Vigor for the switch and the Look of Dwarfs to switch at the end of the kill for those tasty drops. So I have a list of perks here that are very useful for soloing Vindicta. You don't have to have the same ones, you can just pick a few to use based on your invention levels. Now I'll give a quick rundown on a few of the main perks to have. Okay, so the first one we have is Aftershock 3. Now this is really awesome to have for the extra DPS, but it does require 89 invention to unlock. Mobile. Mobile is very useful to have also, because it allows you to get places much faster with the cooldown. Crystal Shield 3. Now this is another good perk to have. So for those of you who don't know what it does, when Crystal Shield activates, it will keep track of how much damage you take for 10 seconds, adding it to a pool of life points. Then for 30 seconds after that, any damage you receive will be subtracted from this pool of life points instead of your actual life points. Enhanced Devoted 3. Now this perk is another great one also to have. It has a chance of each hit of replicating the devotion ability for 3 seconds. The perk does not put the ability itself on cooldown, however this perk takes up to 2 slots in a gizmo, meaning it cannot be paired with any other perk in the same gizmo. Impatient 3. Now, Impatient 3 is pretty awesome to have too. It's a 9% chance per rank for basic abilities to generate 3% extra adren. Also we have Precise 5. Now this perk is a must on your weapons. This perk increases your minimum damage by 1.5 per rank of your maximum damage. We also have a Quill, which is really good to use. Now there are other perks out there such as Absorbative, etc. So be sure to pick the right perks for yourself. So the location of the heart is located in Cadrian Desert. You can get there via a Desert Amulet too, which will teleport you to Nada, or you can use a Fairy Ring. The code is DLQ. Another way you can get there is by teleporting to the Bandit Camp, Lodestone, and walking southeast. Go over the bridge and then walk a bit further east. Now once you're in the dungeon, you can start killing Zaros' followers, which are located in the southwest of the dungeon. Phase 1. She will start with 2 auto attacks at the start of the fight. However, these 2 auto attacks are not part of her actual rotation. This is just something she does. So after the 2 auto attacks, she will do a Hurricane Special, and this can hit anyone who is near her within 2 spaces. Then she will do 1 auto attack again. Next she will do another special, which is called Rockfall. This is where anyone who is in ranged or mage distance will have rocks fall on top of them, dealing range damage to them. However, the person in melee distance will receive no auto attacks from Vindicta. She just stands there and literally does nothing. Following that, she will do 1 more auto attack, and then she will lift her sword into the air, calling upon her awesome dragon. Now when this happens, Gorvek will fly across the room targeting the player and breathing out a long line of purple smoke. And finally she will do 3 auto attacks again, and then she repeats phase 1 until she reaches 100k life points. Okay, so for the next part of the video, I thought it would be cool if I actually went through the rotations via counting the auto attacks with you, so that you guys can familiarise yourselves with Vindicta's rotation. So we're waiting for 2 auto attacks. Now that is 1. And that is 2. So the next attack will be the Hurricane Special. So at this point I equip my shield and I press Resonance to heal me off the damage instead. After the Hurricane Special will be 1 more auto attack. There it is, and then it will be the Rockfall animation. So for those of you who are standing in ranged or mage distance, she will drop rocks on top of you that deal ranged damage. However, if you are standing in melee distance of Vindicta, she will not do anything until the Rockfall animation is over. After the rockfall animation is over, she will do one more auto attack. And there's that auto attack. So the next special attack she will be doing is her dragon and her fire. She will raise her swords into the air. As you can see, I've paused it for you guys to see that her hands are in the air, and he will throw down a long line of purple fire. At this point, you're just going to want to move as soon as possible, as the fire does deal rapid mage damage. So her next attack will be 3 auto attacks, so she's just done one right there. She's got 2 more to go. That's another one. And that's her 3rd auto attack. So the next attack will be her hurricane special. So at this point I use devotion because my resonance is on cooldown. So after the hurricane special, it goes back to 1 auto attack again. And then it's the rockfall animation. So at this point I am showing you the melee distance. She literally just stands there and does nothing. So once the rockfall animation is done, she does 1 auto attack again. And the next special attack will be Gorvek, where he comes down again with his fire. So she raises her swords into the air and he comes across. At this point, just keep moving. And next attack will be 3 auto attacks. That's 1. That's 2. And that's 3. So at this point, you know the hurricane special is coming. So you equip your shield. And your resonance. After the hurricane special is another auto attack. There it is. And then it's the rockfall animation. So she literally just stands there and does nothing for the duration of this. After the rockfall animation, it's 1 auto attack. And then Gorvek comes again. So watch out for the fire. As soon as she raises her arms, just move. It's 3 auto attacks now at this point. So at this point, we have reached 100k life points. Welcome to phase 2. Gorvek will come down to Vindicta and allow her to mount. So this is where the phase you will have to learn to prayer switch between protect melee and protect range. I would honestly recommend keybinding your prayers for this so you can switch between the two much faster. So for the rest of this phase, she will hit with 1 auto melee attack, followed by a high ranged hit, and then back to a 1 auto melee hit. She will then fly off and put a line of fire targeting the player. I'd also recommend you turn off auto retaliate to prevent yourself from being dragged into Gorvek's fire. Now this phase will repeat until Vindicta and Gorvek have been defeated. So Vindicta has mounted Gorvek. Her first attack is an auto melee attack, and then is followed by a strong ranged hit, and then another melee auto attack. Then she will take off with Gorvek and spawn a long purple fire towards the player. At this point you can just click to the side to get out of it. Next she'll just come back in for another auto melee attack and then another strong ranged hit, followed by another melee auto attack. Now how to deal with these ranged hits? You can either use resonance to heal off them, which will help with saving your food, or you can either protect range and use devotion, and that will negate all of the damage, or even protect range and debilitate, which will reduce some of the damage too. So to sum it up, her attack rotation at this point is 1 auto attack, 1 ranged hit that you need to block, another auto attack, then she will take off with Gorvek and spawn a fire line which you need to avoid. Remember to keybind your prayers and your shield, as this will help you so much when learning. And that is the end of my video. Thank you all so much for watching. If you have any questions, feel free to comment below. If you liked the video, give it a thumbs up, subscribe, ring the notification bell and join my Discord server. Peace out.